Hey everybody, I'm Rick. Welcome to Talking Habs, where you get your daily fix of Blue Blanc Rouge. It's the Wednesday night show. There's lots to talk about, actually. Lots of different subjects as we are one week away from the NHL draft. So things are heating up, I guess, with rumors and stuff like that. I expect probably this next week's going to be pretty heated up as far as trades, and I think there'll be some trades before the draft. So we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about there. Sean Monahan had a little Zoom press conference today. I watched that. I've got some notes from that. There's a little bit of news, not really that much going on. And yeah, very little. And we'll talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. So we'll see who's here and we'll get right into the show. If you're here, please send me a message, say hi, and ask me a question. All right, we got Daryl Adams. Hey, Daryl, how you doing, man? Seeing that Carey Price's wife on a site saying Carey will be ready for training camp. Does that mean he's going to play again for Habs? I did not see this, and I would think she's talking about, she means something else by that, I would think. So yeah, it's news on me. If anybody out there knows what that is about, let me know. I know that he sold his house, but they moved already. So they moved this past weekend. So he's no longer a resident of the South Shore or Montreal. And I don't know what they mean. Habs Guru, how's it going, man? He says, go Hughes, go. Matt Greer, how's it going, Matt? Hope my day's been good, yeah. Cole's hang out with PLD and their friends, or a telltale? Is it a telltale he's coming to us? No. Pierre-Luc Dubois, apparently, I did not know this for sure, but he lives here in Montreal. So he's an NHL player. I don't think it's a weird thing that they were hanging out at all. And I don't think it means anything. I really don't. I still don't think PLD is coming to Montreal. So, I mean, you can make what you want of that, but I still don't. But he lives here in Montreal, so, yeah, I don't think there's anything to read into that. Bob Cannon in the house. It feels like forever since I did that. Hey, Bob, how you doing? P.S. Carey sold his house in Montreal. Yes, that's what we're talking about. Hey, Julian Wiseman Vazina, how you doing? Good to see you back. Roger Conrad, welcome back. David William, hey, how's it going? Stand the man. Oh, that was it for the comments. All right. I don't know if anybody watched the Sean Monahan little press conference thing, but I did. And, I think the main thing I take away from this is actually there's two things. He's genuinely excited to be back here in Montreal to play for the Habs, number one. And number two, as I've been saying before, Coach Marty, big reason why he's here. This is what he had to say about Coach Marty. Coach Marty's going to be an asset in bringing players in when they're ready to start bringing in free agents. This is part of what Monahan had to say. He was asked about Coach Marty. I forget what the question was exactly, but he says, I think he's just really relatable. He's easy to talk with. He really understands the game, especially today's game. I played against him, and he didn't play that long ago. And I think you look at his resume, he's a Hall of Fame player. He's a Hall of Fame person. So he's somebody you can lean on. He wants you to get better. He helps you get better. And I think having that kind of coach, the way he runs practices, his energy, his enthusiasm, his positive mood every day, it makes you really want to succeed and work for him. And I think he's the type of coach that I've never really had, I guess, kind of in my life. He's definitely a big reason why I decided to come back. Now, somebody gave me shit today in one of my a comment about how I had said this probably wouldn't happen. I don't think it's going to happen. And blah, blah, blah. Where in my video yesterday, I said I was wrong. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good move. He's really genuinely excited to be here. For the money they're paying him, it's fantastic. He says he is feeling. Now, this happened last year. He said he was feeling great. He says, now most players, doesn't matter when you ask them that, they're going to say things are good. I'm feeling great. He said the layoff where you couldn't come back after the injury last season was in the long run really beneficial to him because he had a long layoff. He got to get very healthy. He said he hasn't felt this good, literally like normal. It feels like normal. It's been 5 years since he feels normal. And he really does. And he's super excited. And yeah, I really I enjoyed watching his press conference thing. And yeah, I mean, this is a guy that could do some damage if he stays healthy. You know, he can really help the team out to some sort of like a playoff run. I think they're gonna like have a bit of a run if they stay healthy for a playoff, like a wild card spot. They're gonna fall back eventually, but I think it's a really good thing that these young players might end up on some sort of a run. You know. Anyway, so let me know what you guys think about that. Excuse me. Hey, Bob, no worries there. That's it's something I should have done, and I'm not really stealing it from Hockey Junkie. I was watching a video of his the other day, and I went, I got to do that finally, and just to acknowledge some of you guys. Yeah, so it'll be at the end of all my videos, not the live ones, but yeah, all the other video, and I'll change it up and add people and stuff. But yeah, well appreciated. Thank you for being, long time subscriber and viewer, and that goes for everybody that's on that list. So check if you want to see if you guys are on it. At the end of every video, some people don't watch to the end, and I get that, but the end of every video, it is 2 or 3 videos now that I have this. Yeah, I acknowledge some people. Leon, hey Leon. Yeah, he definitely loves Coach Marty, and I've said this before that Coach Marty going to be a big asset because you heard what he said. He never had a coach like this before. That probably goes for most players, and they're going to want to come play for him. The more players come in and out of here, the more that word gets around, and yeah. And then if they're winning and you got a coach like that, we're going to get some good free agents when it comes time for that. Roger, I agree. Monahan, very class act, very classy guy. If he can stay healthy, I think he can have a pretty good season. Hey, Joe, how's it going, Joe? Good to see you again. Andre, good to see you too. Stan the Man says, I think Sean wants to prove himself. Yes, he does. He said, I got a few things on that. I'll read your comment and then. And the team that he can play to himself and the team that he can play a full season and also make the Habs more competitive. The Habs now have 2 good offensive lines. They sure do. He said he felt he owed it to the city and the fans to come back because of the fact he couldn't last year. He wants to prove that he's still one of the, a good NHL player. And he's got a lot to prove. Plus, if he wants a contract next year, it's a prove me thing right there. So, Bob, you're right, but I've been meaning to do this for the longest time, and I don't watch a lot of other people's videos, but I watched the video of Junkies, and it kicked back in like I got to do this, and I was on where I make my overlays and my thumbnails and stuff, and I said, okay, I wrote down went through the list, got all the names I wanted, and I did it. But it's long overdue. It's long overdue for you guys. So it's not like it's I don't know what this. I don't even have the words, but it's long overdue. Julie, it sure is. I mean, if you watch me, you should know that. Yeah, that's what it is. Billy Bishop, how's it going, Billy? Michkov going to the Ducks at number 2. It seems to be a new rumor. I'm going to tell you something. I was watching Habs Unfiltered. I don't know. It's a podcast. 2 writers that I read a lot is Blaine Potvin and Trig Wilson. I was on a podcast with Blaine. So I was watching Habs Unfiltered. That's their podcast. They've got the guy from Spectre's Hockey that does all, you see it on Twitter. He was on there, and they were talking about, Michkov and all that. And I'll tell you, I'm not sure if he's going to drop a lot or he's going to get taken really early. I don't know. I kind of think there's a lot of question in. Nobody's seen him really. Not many people have seen him play live or play games at all. We've seen mostly highlights. Everybody looks great in highlights. There's that. There is the question of there's a question about his attitude again. It's brought up. There's a question about his attitude, whether it's right or wrong. I don't know. So there's that. He is going to be interviewed. I believe the Habs are going to interview him at the draft the day before. He's going to be in town for that, and he's going to take interviews. And the Habs are rumored. I mean, it's pretty sure Habs are going to interview him. There's 4 teams I heard. I don't know if there's going to be any more, but the Washington Capitals. I don't know if he's their scout in Russia. Don't know his name. He's bad-mouthing Michkov about his attitude, saying he's got a horrible attitude, worst attitude he's ever seen. But is that because they want to pick him and they're trying to scare people away? I don't know, right? So there's that. The fact that the 3 years that he's going to be playing still in the KHL, not having control at all of his development is an issue. Yeah, I mean, there's things like that. I think they brought up a few good issues. I still have the mind that he might drop a lot. I'm of the mind Montreal's not picking him. Where was I? Javed says, I'd be surprised if Monahan plays 30 games. Don't get me wrong. Love his games, but sadly, his body breaking down. But, the point he made about the long layoff, which he hadn't had really. When you think about it, he hadn't had a long layoff like that. The longest time. I'm going to believe him on it. Time will tell. You could be right. And it's funny because his that $15,000 bonus is a games played bonus, and it's for 26 games because he played 25 last year, so they made it for 26. So we'll see if he gets that. Bob, you got me at a loss. What video did I post today? I don't think I posted a video today. As a matter of fact, I'm positive. I haven't posted a video since the yesterday when the Monahan announcement. Is there something I'm not? Is somebody impersonating me? Was it me on? Is it possible that YouTube just suggested you an old video and you thought it was a new one? Because I did no videos today. I did not do a poem today. No. Are you talking about ahead of the live stream? That's just a trailer. That's a poem from, I want to say 2 years ago. I just thought it's off season. It was about the off season. That's why I posted it. But it's not new. I hope they don't trade that 5th pick and a top prospect for PLD. You know what? The 5th pick is not going. I'm pretty. After watching this podcast, I was just saying about, I'm pretty sure we're not going to see movement on the PLD front unless, I think they're waiting for the draft to see what they get at the draft. If they get one of these top centers, I don't think we're going to see PLD coming over, or like going after PLD. If they don't, I could see them making a deal there at the draft for it. So I don't, it's not going to be the 5th pick though. It's not going to be the 5th pick. If they're giving a pick for the first pick, they're giving for that you're hearing, I think in most rumors anyway. There are rumors about the 5th one, but it's the Florida pick, the 31st overall. They're not giving the 5th. Bob, that's an older video. I believe it's 2 years old. It's called a trailer. So anything under 3 minutes can be put up as a trailer. So I've got a bunch of different things, and today I just felt like putting that one. That's why the background is really different, because it's 2 years ago. I might not have even been in this room. I was probably over in that room over there. Hope the Habs pick either Smith or Leonard. Smith probably, unless they move up, won't be available to them. I doubt, anyway. Or, I mean, if Michkov gets picked early ahead of them, then maybe Smith will be available, but I kind of doubt it. Or Leonard, if either are available. Leonard should be available when they pick, so yeah. If the background had the Lafleur sweater, then I was in here. But because I don't know. I just was I don't know. I hadn't got everything up yet. I don't know. I'd have to take a look at the video to see the background. I don't remember all the videos and their backgrounds and everything. Oh, I missed something up there. Ovi wants Michkov bad. Probably Putin called him and I said, hey, listen, I want you to get Michkov there. Leon, it's not the actor Will Smith, who, while he does not have a great slap shot, he does have a pretty good slap. A lot of Habs fans will get mad, but I won't lose sleep for not drafting Michkov. I would be happy with either Smith, Leonard, or Carlson. Yeah, a lot of Habs fans will get mad about not drafting Michkov, but they don't know everything. I mean, look, who am I gonna trust in making that decision? The team that does the research and does all that, or some guy that reads an article and it just, oh yeah, that's what I want, and doesn't, yeah, no. San Jose could take someone off the board. They definitely, like the reach. Doubt it. Although, I mean, it's not to say that you're wrong. I just doubt that, but sure, they could reach. Be kind of dumb though. The talent level at, in the top four. I don't see why anybody's reaching there. To me, if one of them takes Michkov, it's a bit of a reach. I guess, I don't know. I think that's what I mean. But I don't think Montreal are taking Michkov. It'll hinge on that interview that they're going to have. But I still don't think so. I still don't think so. Yeah, well, the Habs, listen, if they don't try to move up, they're not doing their due diligence. Do I think they will move up? No, I really don't think they will. The price is going to be pretty high to move up. I don't know that they're going to want to pay that, but we'll see. With Hughes, I don't know. Anything could be possible too, right? So, don't know. So don't forget to talk to me here in the chat. If you're having a good time, give a thumbs up and say hi and ask a question. Let's see what else I got here from. I got Newswise. News on the cap. First of all, I thought the cap was going up to 82.5. With going up one, it's still only going to go up to 1 million, but it's going up to 83.5. How did I get that wrong? Wasn't it 81.5? Going up 1 million means 82.5, but apparently confirmed today, cap's going up to 83.5. So that's something, or nothing. I don't know. Talked about Carey Price. Here's a crazy trade proposal that I heard. It's not like an official thing, but it's a crazy one. It's actually from a sports person here in Montreal. I do believe soccer is that guy's main sport, but doesn't mean he doesn't know hockey. Okay, this is what Montreal gets. First, I'm going to tell you we're giving up to get Pierre-Luc Dubois and taking on Blake Wheeler's 1-year contract. I don't know the price. I don't know what his AAV is, but so taking on Blake Wheeler to make it easier for the Habs to get PLD. But this is what they got to give up while taking on this. Tell me if I'm crazy that this is too much. Florida's first. Anderson, Dvorak, and one of the 5 young D. Who out there would do that? To me, too much. You're taking Blake Wheeler because they need to move the contract and everything so you can make it easier to get PLD, and you're giving up that much? What would it have been before? Let me know what you guys think. Well, Renegade Man, depending on the price to trade up, right? But you're right. If you're giving up a ton of shit to go, and yeah, they're not proven yet. So, but more than likely, these guys are going to be, either, I think you can pretty much count on it. But Phil, by the way, Phil, I'm glad you came in. Your text earlier, I was doing dishes, and so it got lost. Like I forgot. Like I had a video running. I wasn't, and I'm doing dishes, and then sorry. And I was thinking about it when I was walking the dog before the show, and I'm glad you came in. That I would tell you that. So I apologize. Carlson will most likely go before number 5, I would think. Yeah, Leonard or Smith more likely. Yeah, Carlson. I think unlikely that Carlson will be there at 5. I think really unlikely. Stand the man, I agree. I don't, but I mean, that's just way too much, don't you think? Renegade Man, I'd give up. Like, I'm okay with that, what you just said there. Florida's first, Dvorak and Norlander. That works for me. But now you're going to add more to that, and you're taking on salary, which is supposed to make it easier and less costly for you. I don't get it. So, and it's from a sports person. Like, really? He's on the radio and all that kind of stuff. Like, how is that you would put that up there? I don't know. Leon says, I heard Dvorak, Florida's pick, and Josh Harris, which is not as expensive, right? Because it's not Anderson there. I don't know about Harris going, though, but maybe. Wheeler's old, but that's like taking on Monahan last year, right? Excuse me. Again, we took on Monahan, got a first-round pick. A benefit, right? So we're taking Wheeler, getting PLD, yes, that's great, but then you got to give up a shit ton back? I don't get it. Hey, BC Richard, how you doing? Looking forward to your draft coverage. Yeah, well, we'll be on, I think a half hour, maybe an hour before, but I think a half hour before. So it's going to start 6:30 Eastern time, a week from today. So there won't be a Wednesday night show, but we're going to be on for till the end of the first round. So, like, I don't know where to stop it, right? So it's either going to stop it at the Habs pick, but then there's so many picks I want to know who they are. So we'll probably do the whole first round instead of a show. Bobby doesn't have to fit in the rebuild because he's only got a 1-year contract. It's just to take on his salary to make it easier to get Pierre-Luc Dubois. But if you're giving that much to get him, I'm not taking Wheeler for that. No. Leon, that was out of Winnipeg, that thing? Yeah, well, there you go. The person was the sports person was a Montreal sports person. What's his name? I'm trying to think of it. Eric Macgramella. That's his name? Eric Macgramella? I think that's his name. He's the one who put that out there, and I was like, it was on Twitter, and I retweeted it quote tweeted it, and I put, "What, you forgot about the kitchen sink, right? Give him everything but the kitchen sink there. Come on, add that." So I don't know. Joe, I kind of agree with you on there. Anderson is kind of like Monahan. He's a good role model. He's a leader. He's a veteran. You know, it's good for this young team to have guys like that. And I honestly, I don't think Montreal wants to trade him. Renegade Man says Norlander, very good prospect, but he won't make the team. I agree with that, and I think he's expendable. So I'm fine with that. And he says if he was LA, give up Turcotte over Byfield. Jets have to be realistic. I think I give them Byfield. Byfield probably right now has higher value, yes, but I don't know that he's. I'm questioning whether he's not a bust, but definitely I don't know if he was worthy of that second overall pick. I think we're going to find out. So I'm kind of leaning towards I'd give Byfield and get that problem. Someone else if they'll take him. It was a what podcast in Winnipeg? I'm curious, Leon. Joe says just her luck. She has a hospital appointment when the draft starts. Well, listen, we're gonna announce all of the names when you get back. Throw the show on the replay, and you'll get brought up to date. Not that you can't find that information out anyway, but you can always do that. I don't know what else to say. Brad Allen, not the celebrity Brad Allen, is it? No. What's next for Drouin? Somewhere else. Someone else's problem. He'll get signed. He has some offense in him. He's a playmaker. He'll get signed by a team. So I just don't know where. But he's going to play somewhere. Phil, where does this come from? Got to check that ass, colon, and prostates are at risk for the boys. Where does that come from? Well, Phil's a big Drouin fan, so he wants him to be re-signed. Drouin will probably sign some kind of 8-year, not 8 years. He's just trying to get my goat. 8-year contract in Montreal for any amount, and it will make the old man's head implode. Not implode, explode. It's going to explode if that happens. You know what? If Drouin signs an 8-year contract anywhere, he should just count his lucky stars. He's not signing with Montreal, and he, I would expect he's going to have to probably sign a bit of a prove me deal somewhere, but he'll get, anywhere from 1 to 3 years from somewhere. Hey, Quinn, how you doing, man? Renegade Man says he's betting that Florida's pick will be in play for a roster player. I hope it's a young player who is ready to make the jump to the team. I've said it before. I think they're going to use that in a move. I just don't know what exactly or when. My most memorable form memory. Oddly enough, it's going to be, again, I've told this story before for different reasons. Because when I read that, jumped right back to when I saw the California Golden Seals. And I'm not sure what year. It was probably 69 at the Forum. Gump Worsley was in nets. And I don't know. I didn't know much about the Seals at the time. I was 6 years old. But I remember the game, and I'll never forget. My brother and I were making fun of Gump Worsley. We had long hair as kids, and he was just stubble, and we were making fun of his short haircut when he was in front. I think we were the Canadians net, so we had him in front. I remember 2 periods, and it's funny. I don't remember a ton of shit from back then when I was that age, but I remember that. So there you go. And that was at the Forum. So that's my most memorable Forum memory. Other than that, I don't think I was at the Forum for like any big events or games like that. So I went many times. I've seen many games, but yeah, nothing that stands out. I know I was at one of the last games Jose Theodore played before he got traded. He was great, and then he just went downhill, especially one season. Um, and I saw one of his last games. It might have been his last game too. He was horrible, and he was traded soon after. I kind of remember that. What else do I remember? I didn't see any big games. Unfortunately, I guess. Quinn, great place for hockey. Great place for hockey. I don't think I've seen a game at the Bell Center. Honestly, I don't think I have. I mean, I think if I'd seen a game at Bell Center, I'd remember. So, without a doubt, not a better. There was no better place to see a hockey game in my mind. Leon. I wasn't there for that. Saw that though on TV and still talked about it a few times in a video. Larry Robinson in, I guess, the 76 playoffs, wasn't it? I'm not sure when exactly this happened, if it was the playoffs or not. He hit Gary Dornhofer coming in along the wing on near the boards. He hit him so hard into the boards that he cracked the board. They had to change the board. It was cracked, like broken. I've never seen that since. So, and there was a hard hit the other, I forget what game, one of the playoff games. And I said, that's the hardest hit I've ever seen maybe in my life, except the Gary Dornhofer hit. So, yeah. You were lucky to be there. That's awesome. What game was that? Was that a playoff game? I don't remember what game that was, if it was regular season, but I watched that on TV. I thought Dornhofer was dead. Phil says most memorable for a moment. Everybody, chime in if you got one. Meeting Patrick Roy outside, getting into his shit bucket car late at night, signed our puck, and we played with it the next week. So that's what back. You're talking back in the 80s when he was like young, wasn't making money. Newfie Joe, hey Newfie Joe. I hope that Sean Monahan will stay healthy this coming season because he is a stellar player. Me too. I think he'll play more than the 25 games. But I definitely do hope that he has a full healthy season. Stan the Man, you're lucky because that's something I wish I would have seen. I never got to see a Nordiques game at the Forum. Would have loved to seen that. Watched them all on TV, that's without a doubt, but never got to see one live. Renegade Man says, if I have to trade a defenseman, it would be Barron. He likes him, but not a game changer, he doesn't think. It's not a point that for that trade proposal I was talking about, that they might, trade one of it's too expensive a deal. And I don't see Hughes overpaying anyway, but that was my point. I like Barron. I don't know. It's kind of hard. It's hard to pick, one of the young guys. I don't know. It's hard to pick. My first inclination would be now, you know what? I just had the name is blanking. The new kid, Kovacevic. But you know what? The kid's good and he's big and I don't know. I would have a hard time deciding if I was making that deal, who it would be. Quinn, I appreciate the offer. I'm not sure how I feel right now about possibly going back to such a big crowd of people. That's really what it's about. I appreciate the offer, and we'll never know. I may end up back watching a game one day. What do I think the life expectancy for Galley? Not that way, but with the team, 1 year or 2 or deadline deal. He is a love of Montreal, but Kent has no ties to him. Very true, but that contract, I don't know how you're going to move it. So I say Galley will remain with the Habs till, he'll end up on LTIR like Carey. And I figure maybe 2 years playing, and then the rest is probably going to be on LTIR. Is what it looks like. He's still young enough. He could have a resurgence. He probably needs a full season off and then come back. Kind of like what Monahan just went through in a way. And, might help him. But, yeah, I don't know. Phil, maybe to stay under the radar, because in '93 he had to be making money that he didn't have a shit bucket anymore. But maybe, so whatever the reason. But that's cool. It's a cool story. I think I might have once done that, wait outside the back at the garages for players to come out. I don't believe we saw anybody that time, and never did that again. So. Well, Phil, if it's going to be like your prediction for Drouin to sign contract year, yeah, it's not happening. The legend of Monahan continues. Matt's in the house. Look at that. I will most likely never go to a live Habs game because Joe lives in Australia. But I hear the games via the radio calls. That's awesome. I prefer the radio over TV due to the sound of the atmosphere. I mean, can you get it on TV? I imagine you can get anything nowadays, but I mean, it'll cost money. But like, what do you get for games? You get the NHL package and shit like that out there? And as far as on radio, I used to work a lot of nights at a pizza place, a lot of nights. So, and we'd be busy on hockey nights. So I listened to a ton of games that way. And baseball too. I listened to a ton of baseball games on the radio. And you know what? It's good. If you got a good announcer, it's good. Quinn makes a good point. Barron is a right-hand defenseman and right-side defenseman, and that is a quantity. Is it quantity? No, not a quantity. It is a. Habs don't have a lot of those guys, so I doubt he'd be traded. Gonna send who to the Kings for peanuts? Talking about Drouin? He's a free agent, so we can't send him anywhere. Joe, yeah, you got to think Galley's gonna probably be a Hab for life because I don't see any team trading for him. The only way you trade a team will take that on is the way Montreal took on Monahan. You're trying to dump the salary, give something good along with Galley, and I don't think they're going to treat Galley like that. Honest, I really don't. Montreal's a different organization. It may be different management, but the organization itself, very classy. In general, they don't do things like that. So I'm going to say they're not going to just unceremoniously dump Galley's contract or Galley or whatever. I don't think so. Hope Slav will step up his game next season, but I think a stint at the AHL is better for him for his development if he's still struggling. And, I don't disagree with that at all. As a matter of fact, I agree with that. But I kind of think he's going to – I don't think he's going to go to the AHL. I know he doesn't want to. I'm convinced, too, that he doesn't absolutely need to. Some guys can develop in the NHL, and you've got a coach here in Coach Marty. I think you can develop. I think he can develop guys at the AHL level. So I mean, not just every player, but there's guys that, and he feels that he can with Slav. So we'll see. Anyone else digging Sam Montembeau as our number? I actually, well, I think they're going to give him that shot this year. And I think he's going to rise to the challenge. And thoughts on drafting a goalie with our round 2 pick? I don't think it's out of the question. I don't know if that's what they're going to do, though. But as far as Monty, I like Monty. I think Monty is I think you got 2 seasons to give Monty that job and see where he goes with it, and then make that big commitment to him if he rises to the challenge. He's got 1 year left on his contract, so it's kind of it's a touchy thing. I know he would like to sign a new deal. He's able to July 1st. I think Montreal waits a little bit, though. I think mid-season, if all's going well and he's on the up and rising still, like as a goalie, I think, they lock him up a bit. Probably still on a bridge type of a deal and then see from there, but still, give him a 2-3 year deal and then go from there. It won't cost a lot. Phil, I see, when I see Brad Allen, to me, it's an older comedian. Where did I see that? He was on a show or something like that. I think that's his name is Brad Allen, and it's probably not. It's probably something B. But that's what brings me to mind. I didn't think of it as far as Jake Allen. Allen still has life, but if Monty takes the reins as number 1, he's a trade piece, and you can get a return, and move some money off the books as well. Yes, there has been a little bit. I talked about it on Saturday. Raphael Harvey-Pinard is expected, obviously, to sign a new deal. Not expected to be a long-term deal, but a bridge deal, 3-4 seasons, and then, maybe 2-3 seasons, and then go for a long-term. Because not everybody can sign 8 years. They can't do it with everybody. And that's what I just read this the other day. Justin. Hey, Justin. What would you give to move up to second in the draft? I wouldn't overpay to do it. I don't think Hughes will do it overpay either. But yeah, I wouldn't give as much as you might think, because you're getting a guy at second that is still unproven, no matter what, still unproven. Not that I think Fantilli will be bad or anything, but so I'm not giving away the farm personally. I think the Habs are going in the right direction. They've got a lot of good pieces here, and I don't want to give away too many of them in order to, acquire one piece, causing, creating holes here, here, or here to fill one big hole. I don't know that I want to do that, And, look, if you look back in your history of the draft, how many times has it happened that someone's moved up to second? It happens, but not very often at all. So I don't think it's going to happen. They wouldn't be doing their due diligence, though, if they didn't try. And apparently they're aggressively trying because they'd like to move up into, I'm sure they've talked with Columbus as well, into one of those 2, 3, or 4. Yeah, Joe, that part you can't help. The time difference. But at least you get you can get everything there. Okay, but Phil, when you say send Galley to the Kings for peanuts, what do you mean by you? But you think the Kings want to take on his 6.5? million. And if you say, well, you retain salary, Montreal's made it very clear, apparently, to media that they do not want to retain. They don't want any more dead cap. That's what it is. Past next season. So anything now, they don't. They don't want any retaining or anything of money for the years following. And I don't think you're gonna. I don't see how else you move Galley's contract if you can without retaining half. And I believe 4 more seasons left on it. So I don't know. Galley will win a cup with Montreal. Doubt that. I don't think Montreal wins a cup that quickly. And like I said, he's maybe got 2 seasons left of playing the way his body is. So Matt chiming in with the Bruins. You knew he was a Bruin. No. That Krejci and Bergeron are very likely to retire, and they're trying to make trades and not been able to, and trying to move Matt Grzelcyk. I don't know how to pronounce that freaking name. They need to make cap space, or else they're not going to be able to do much. They're really caps strapped. That's the word I'm looking for. Hey, Lucas, how's it going, man? Your cousin Jake Allen can be number 2 for now. You're not Jake Allen's cousin. Come on. But number 2, what though? You're talking about number 2 center? No, that's not happening. Listen, Jake Allen, solid 4th line center. I'm very happy to have him there. But let's be honest. I mean, he can fill in at times higher up, but not on a regular basis. Phil, I don't think anybody said that on day one, but I think you're right. I think Monty can be. I think this is his year to prove it, right? They're going to give him the opportunity, right? He's going to get the bulk of the starts. He's going to have the starters role. Let's see what he does with it. I'm confident in this guy. I see some really good things from him, and I think he wants to prove that he is that guy. Slav needs ice time to develop. He will get a lot of it in Laval, more than in Montreal. This is true. That's why I said I'm good with him going to Laval, but I don't know that they're going to do it. So we'll see. We'll see. Here's what I think. If Slav struggles in the training camp, I think he goes to Laval. If Slav wows them enough, or just totally wows them in training camp, he stays in Montreal. So training camp's probably going to be the key for Slav. Matt says, also, kind of hot take from him, Josh Roy and Riley Kidney will break camp with the Habs. I'm not sold on Riley Kidney for that, but I'm agreeing. I tend to think that Josh Roy if he has a good camp, will do that, yes. But I'm going to finish off his comment, but we saw 5 rookie defensemen last year. I don't know if we're going to see 5 rookie forwards, but we're going to see the rookies and the forwards this year. Joshua Roy, maybe Riley Kidney, but I'm not sold on that yet. You know, when you say that Kidney plays 3rd C, I kind of think Owen Beck has a better shot at that than Riley Kidney. I just think that. So, but maybe I'm wrong. I've been known to be wrong before. Point being, though, that they gotta make spaces for these guys, because these guys are ready to come up. Some of them are, and they need ice time. They need to play. It's a young team. Get them in now. Get them all playing. Get them all there at the same time. Monty did a great job at the World Championship, and I think Look, I really like the kid. I think the kid's got some tools. He still has some proving to do, but I have confidence in him, and I really I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Monty. He sold me in the 2 years he's been here, from like laughing at him the first game to I've seen steady progress from this kid, and he's got potential. And listen, Patrick Roy was not like, oh, he's going to be the next big. No, he was almost a write off, and he got an opportunity and he ran with it. And I see this kid I see Monty doing that. Will he make it to Patrick Roy status? I don't know. But I think an NHL goalie, without a doubt, in my mind, he is. Bob, that's probably the scenario, right? They see how Monty does. If Monty continues to take the steps forward, they sign him, and they make a commitment to him, and then Allen can be moved at the deadline for a good return, and in the off season they'll find another goalie to back, or they'll find a goalie at some point to back him up, or I doubt Dobis, but maybe Primo's ready by midseason. I don't know. I'm not ready, Andrew, to make Primo the tandem yet, personally, but it might be how they go. It might be what they do. Phil, I don't know if you remember the commercials. There were Midas muffler commercials, and it said, "I'm not going to pay a lot for that muffler," and that they're not going to pay a lot for PLD. I could see them if they make a deal for him. If they do, I don't think you're going to overpay in what goes out to get him, and I don't think they're going to overpay on the AAV. But I also don't think PLD is going to sign for less than 8. I'm pretty convinced at this point he's looking for 9.5. If he signs with Montreal, he's taking a hometown deal. It's not going to be less than 8. I don't think it'll be 8.5 even, but 8.2, 8, somewhere there. I'm more convinced now that will be the price, not 7.5 that I'm okay with. And I also think if it happens at the draft. Also, everybody got to remember something about Primo. We're back to that. Primo now has to clear waivers to come up. Or if he starts with Montreal, that's okay. But now, if he starts in Laval, got to clear waivers to come up. And that could make a big difference. We'll see. So either if Montreal wants to go with him, then they start the season with him, move Allen, and then they don't lose Primo on the waiver wire. Or what we could see is they give Primo one more year full time in Laval. Not going to be called up because of the waiver, but they've got Dobis down there now. So when they need an emergency, they call Dobis up. No waivers, no problem. That might be their plan, because I know it's going to be Primo and, from what I can tell, Primo and Dobis down there. Matt, I think in the long run they will do that, but I think this year they're going to give Monty the number one job and see if he can handle it. I think that's important. I personally think that's a good idea. I don't think they're going to give him 60 games, but I can see Monty's probably going to play 50. 45 for sure, 45 to 50 games, barring any injuries that way. That's what I think they're going to give him. So he'll get the bulk of the I guess the bulk's not the right word. He'll get more starts than Allen, but yeah, they got to test and see if he can handle it on a full season. I think he can. I personally do. I think he's got the temperament for it. I think he can handle the bad games and bounce back. I think he's got that in him. We'll see. Bob, I tend to agree with you that way, right? Don't trade Allen without at least having, might trade him and then acquire, but you got to bring somebody in that's an NHL caliber goaltender. I don't think, it depends, because I don't think they're looking at the season and saying, well, if we finish in the bottom, that's not a problem this year again. We're not. They've already said that starting this next season, it's not going to be that. They're not going to say, yeah, we're just in development. We don't really care about the record. No, I think they want this team to make a run as part of the development of these kids. And, in that type of, I think it's important. And I think that's what they're going to try to do this year. So I think wins and losses become somewhat important. Not fully, but start to become important now. Andrew, they're not going to give those guys, but if you don't ask, you don't get. But I agree with you. It's rare that teams move up like that, and the guys that you got that can get you that, you're not giving up. So that's why it won't happen. Brad says, I'll be honest, I thought picking up Monty was a move to put some no-name guy in net while they get pounded every game. We all thought that. And maybe it was at first, but damn, he has really impressed me. I don't think for them it was ever that, but I think we all thought that. But I don't think so. I think they needed a guy. He was available. They picked him up knowing he had potential. I'm not sure they realized how much potential, but he's proven himself he's gotten better as, what else can you ask from a player but to keep improving? And he definitely has. Hey, babe, awesome. New computers are fun, but yeah, you got to get used to them. I went through it recently. Well, I guess about 6 months I have this now. Heard they really want Carlson or Smith, and that's why they're trying to either pick second or fourth. Yes, of course, but can they accomplish that? And will they give away the world to get that done? No. So within reason, yes, and I don't think that's going to happen. Because also, if you're that team, do you really want to give up that spot too? You got to really make it worth our while for that, and I don't think it's going to happen. Phil, that's very possible. I kind of remember you with the Monty Burns pretty early on, but no one else did. We all kind of thought he was just there for. But I like me and Matt quickly turned around on Monty. It wasn't too many games in where we started going, he's starting to look better or what? I remember doing that. Like, is it me or Monty's looking like he's getting better? And from then on, we liked him. I mean, those are good enough reasons, Phil. Yeah, Phil, I don't think PLD's coming in that low. No, I don't. I no longer think that. It's clear he wants to be paid. 8 times 7.75 plus preferential parking and locker placement. I don't know if Florida will take Primo if he hits waivers. I do believe that Primo would probably get taken, a good chance if he's playing decently or well, he gets taken on the waiver wire. But you never know. They may have a need, but they can't have him. We have a need too. We're not There's not an overabundance of goalies in the Habs system. So Barnaby Habs says if they do get PLD, they draft Michkov with the 4. They will draft Michkov. No, wait, I read it right. If they do get PLD, will they draft Michkov with the 5th pick? I don't think so. I don't think so. And if they don't, they're gonna pick. I mean, I think it's gonna be Leonard in the end. But, you know what? I'm gonna say this now, and for the first time, there's rumors out there about them being interested in Reinbacher. I no longer think it's impossible that they draft Reinbacher. Reinbacher, from every account I've seen, will be a top pairing defenseman in this league. I could see them doing that, and he's on the right side, from what I understand as well. I don't think they are going to do it, but I'm not going to be shocked anymore. It's crazy enough to say that. BL to Matt, listen to this, says he's seen Kidney and Roy both play, and he thinks they need a little bit more seasoning in Laval. Yeah, listen, the training camps will probably decide that, right? I definitely think, like personally, and I said it, I think Kidney will go to Laval. I think there's a possibility for Josh Roy. I really do. So we'll see what kind of camp he has, but I definitely, if he doesn't make the team, the Habs, he's going to Laval. Like, I don't think for him going back to, I think he can go back one more year to the Q, but I don't think it. There's no reason for it. I don't play video games, so I can't answer that there, Phil, but everyone else can. Serious question from Phil. Super Mario Brothers 3 versus Super Mario World. My mouth not working all of a sudden. Oh, Brad, I mean, you should always, whatever team Jake Allen is with. Oh, yeah, you know what? I apologize to you. I was confusing Evans again with Al. I do it all the time. Whatever I said earlier. Jake Allen's a very respectable guy. He's the kind of guy, you should have. Having his shirt, doesn't matter what team he plays for. I got a lot of respect for Jake Allen. He's a stand-up guy. When you hear a stand-up guy, that's the kind of guy you're talking about. You've been waiting for a damn Saint Laurent forever. That's not a name you're going to get a lot of options there, buddy. Babe, yes, expensive. Yes, I had mine built, and it was more than I was expecting to pay, and I had it built. That means I bought all the pieces. It should have been cheaper, but can only imagine if I know what I would have spent if I had to buy it pre-built. Jake stole his prom date. Did he marry her, though? If he married her, it's very understandable. It doesn't work that way, Phil. That's why. Wait, Nicholas, I think I got to go back far. I'm not sure what you're talking about there, but I'm going to read it. It's too early. They will be quite bad for a few more years if they don't make big trades or signings. Again, not the right time yet, but who knows? To say for a few years, I don't know if they're going to be quite bad for a few years. I think maybe one more year where you could say they're quite bad, and even that, I don't know. I think next year could be surprisingly not bad. Yeah, so I don't know. And I don't think it's right time yet to make big signings. Trades are different, but to sign free agents, they're not at the point where they should be signing free agents, big ones, to fill holes and stuff like that. Different story, but that's what I think. If they don't get PLD, they will move up and draft one of the young centers. I don't think PLD is happening before they get up and draft. So if they don't get one of the young centers, they will get PLD or try to get PLD at least. Whether they do it or not, I don't know. But yeah, I think I look at it that way. Phil, that may be, but when they picked him up, I doubt I did a video. I might have had it in a news story. I didn't do a video on it in itself. I don't think. I didn't. I knew who he was. I didn't really think it was a big thing. I don't remember doing a video just on that. And for me to go back and find that, you forget it. I'm not doing that work. I don't remember what date. Give me a date. Maybe I can find it. Otherwise, I'm not looking. Brad, you want PLD? That's what his wife says too. I don't know. You might have to fight her for that. Phil's really ready to have a threesome with PLD and Devo. Brad just wants, regular relationship. Monty will get better as the young defense have had 1 year under their belt, and they will only get better, which will benefit Monty. But Monty's going to get better too, and then that will make it even better. So yeah. The problem with acquiring PLD at this point is the Habs will have a pretty decent chunk of the cap tied to 3 players. I know cap might go up in the next 2-3 years, but don't want to get into a Leaf situation. But that's not even close. When you're looking at, say 3 times 8, it's 24 million. Just 2 players of the 4 in Toronto are 24 million. So, and now they're probably going to end up signing Austin Matthews to like 15 million. Imagine signing a guy to 15 million a year that you can't win with. And by the way, gotta what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever on the Leafs. Can't think of the goddamn word. They're gonna bring Sheldon Keefe back. They were gonna fire him and keep Dubas. So Dubas quit. So they said, "Oh well, let's keep Keefe." They're going to keep Sheldon Keefe. To me, that's mind-boggling. Like, really? You guys really you like being shitty, I guess. Okay. You like not being able to win, I guess. Anyways, I think that's a funny story that they're keeping Keefe. All right. The AHL Calder Cup final is tonight at 11. Look at that. 11 what? AST? Atlantic Standard Time. Hershey versus I can't say it. I'm having a stroke. What? Hershey versus Coachella Valley. Shane Wright has been playing for Coachella Valley. So Shane Wright in the Calder Cup final. Have you heard what other teams? I only know of LA, so I don't know what other teams are actually in on PLD. Yeah, and listen, I don't think Montreal's not getting PLD, so they don't need money to sign Slav just yet. He just signed his ELC. The new pick won't even sign an ELC for a year, 2, maybe 3. That's not a worry, and that money is negligible anyway. If you're talking about down the road, but after this next season, the cap's going up by 4 or 5 million at least every season. So it's not a huge problem as long as no world disaster happens to change that. Who knows? Nicholas says Reinbacher as an elite player is mad. Very good, perhaps, but top four, maybe. Far cry from 1 or 2, in his honest opinion. But I mean, that's everything I'm hearing from the inside, not just insiders, but people who know how to judge hockey players and stuff like that. That's what I'm talking about. Not just you and me. He's apparently a top pairing defenseman in the making. Maybe not a ton of offense to his game, but everything else. And no, not he's not a defense like a stay-at-home guy either. He's got more to that in his game. I'm not saying I want them to draft Reinbacher. I don't, but it's not going to shock me either. I guess that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Joe, I heard that just the other day too. That next year's draft is more defense heavy. So, Gooley is somebody, but I mean, Gooley's gonna get, he'll probably get a bridge. Won't be super expensive. Deep. By the way, Deep. I don't know how you pronounce that. Deep Buller. So welcome to the channel. By the way, I'm gonna say no, not yet. I don't think we might see him play a game or two. Like near the end of the season to get a look. No, I think he goes to Laval and he does his thing down there. Anyways, we'll find out what Gary Bettman, whether he grants him permission to play in Laval or not. But no, I don't think we'll see him in Montreal, except for maybe, just to take a look, cup of coffee to see how he's developing. Nicholas, I think Reinbacher's going to go high, probably top 10. But no, Montreal, I don't think is going to pick him. I'm just saying they are rumored. There's rumors, a lot of rumors about them being very interested in Reinbacher. But as I always say, rumors are what they are. Baby, that's one expensive. I was not going to go that high for a computer. Nope. So let me just ask you, if does it give you a blowjob or something, like also like you can watch porn and it does its thing, like that's why it's 3,800, because it should do that for 3,800. Rick, the draft is tonight at the 5th spot. The Habs take. No, you're doing it wrong. First, tell me who went 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'll tell you who the Habs 5th is. Without knowing who went 1, 2, 3, 4, no, I'm not doing that. Bob, a threesome is when 3 adults, it could be a mix of a male and female, could be all the same sex, but when 3 adults have sex, that's a threesome, just in case. Canadians claim goaltender Sam Montembeault off waivers October 2nd, 2021. Nice. Okay. I'm not. You think I'm going to go look for that video? You're nuts, right, Phil? No, we don't need the whole ad, the article. Come on. If Reinbacher were elite, then he'd been talked about much longer and earlier. Late risers always have this in common. No, I don't. No, I don't think that's true. What you said there. I don't think it has anything to do with him being elite or not. There's players who are elite that were drafted in the fifth, sixth, like there are. So I don't know, what are you talking about? All Habs fans will be on pins and needles a week from tonight. No, by now, like if you're going like exactly to this time, by now it'll be almost over the whole first round. So it starts at 7. Figure by 8. By 8 on the 28th, we should know who our pick is. Oh, BL, I can answer that. I do believe. Right now, I'm of the belief that they're not taking Michkov. It will be Ryan Leonard. I don't believe it'll be Zach Benson, and I don't believe it will be. I don't believe it'll be Ryan Bacher. But right now, I think those are the guys that are being talked about, and make a lot of sense in that area. And I'm sure you can name a couple other guys maybe there, but I don't think there's too many more than that that would be considered in for 5. So I'm going Ryan Leonard. Phil, nobody's perfect, so take that away. But I think he is the type of player. First of all, I think he'll be a hit. Like he'll hit the NHL. I think top 6 to 8 are pretty much sure hits. And I just think he's the type of player that Montreal needs. They need a guy like that. It's the kind of guys they're looking to get. I think I like a lot about that guy. He's not perfect though, but spinal injections. That's funny. Yeah, no, listen, we'll all be a little nervous. I remember last year I was so sure it was going to be right, but man, I was nervous. And then they took slaps. So, yeah, it's nothing. Just because I said it doesn't mean it's going to happen. But no, I believe that if it goes that way, they'll be taking Ryan Leonard. No, well, I see more of if you're saying we're getting PLD, I see a second line not with Leonard. I see a second line of PLD, Slaff, and Anderson. That's a huge line. I honestly think a guy like Ryan Leonard, first of all, he won't be here next year. But when he does hit, I could see him playing on a top line with Suzuki and Caulfield. He's the kind of guy that uses the body, goes into the corners. He'll go. He wins battles. That energy, I could see him being that kind of guy. Where was Reinbacher a year ago? He was playing hockey. You listen. Your opinion is fine. I'm not. You're allowed your opinion. I'm telling you what I'm hearing. You can't tell me that's not what I'm hearing, but that's your opinion, and that's fine. Absolutely. But to say that because we didn't hear about him last year or whatever, that doesn't mean anything. A lot of guys rise late. We're talking about Leonard. Leonard wasn't thought of as a fifth pick, but he was a very a steady riser all last season on the rankings, and it happens every year, and it's not unheard of. BL, I agree with that. I agree with that. I can give it away. I'm planning to do another mock draft, a post combine one, which I haven't gotten to yet. But I have Michkov for Washington. That's where I think he falls to, and if he falls there, I think Washington picks him up. Joe, I'm lost. What's the reason for the appointment next week? I'm sorry. When does the KHL season end? Don't have no idea. Is it possible that Michkov comes over near the end of season 3 from now? Well, that's what will happen, right? When his contract's done, he'll come over, right? Unless they've forced, convinced, signed him to 2 more seasons, which is the worry. Or, if possible, if Russia is still a country and after being defeated by Ukraine, or able to have airplanes that fly here still. I don't know. I'm just joking on that, but yeah, that's what'll happen. It'll come here when his KHL contract is finito. Wow. Again, I've been on. It's almost an hour and a half. It does not feel like that. Give a thumbs up if you're having a good time. Appreciate that. We're getting near the end. So if there's anything that we haven't mentioned, let me look over my stuff. I know I didn't go over everything from the Monahan interview. If there's anything you want to ask me about, I can answer. I don't know. If there's something here that I wanted to talk about, I think I mentioned everything from this. That's your appointment. I'm sorry, Joe. I remember you saying that. But why would you get that? Like, ouch. Is that a spinal tap? You're getting a spinal tap? Ouch. I hope everything's okay. Let's play Super Smash Brothers with that like button. I appreciate the likes when they come. But anything you guys want to talk about to end it, let me know. Putin will let Ovi bring him early. No, that won't happen. It has nothing to do with Putin, and it has nothing to do with Ovi to get him here early. No, listen, typically KHL teams, when you got a guy like Michkov, they try to pressure them to sign and stay longer. And Alex Romanov went through this, where they totally reduced his ice time, didn't play him very much in the final season, and he's underdeveloped a little bit like that. That could happen. Who knows? They send him down like he played last season with the worst team in the KHL. They could do that again. Like they can do things to try to persuade him to stay longer. It doesn't always happen, definitely, but it has happened. Romanov definitely had his ice time greatly reduced, and it was an issue when he got here. How is actually, I've got 4 parts to that, and I was avoiding today. I was supposed to work on part 2, and I avoided my way around that and ran out of time. But it's going to come out. It's going to come out. There's no rush on this one. There's no time sensitivity to it. So, yeah, I'm going to get to it. I actually want to get it done before the end of the month, although I think I'm going to keep the AI artwork thing. Mid-Journey. But if I'm not, I want to have this done before that runs out. So we'll see. By the way, the artwork for the thumbnail for this was from that. I got that from doing that first piece, so I used some of that artwork. I kind of like the thumbnail for tonight. Well, I think we're burning everybody out. We got Carey Price's number in the room. Got about 5 minutes left or less. I could leave that. No, but we got about 5 minutes left. So if there's anything you guys still want to talk about. Thanks, Joe. It was easy to do. The AI stuff is like just crazy easy. And I can definitely understand why could be a problem in the future. Like I would have, for what I already did for one little piece, what is a minute, and I think it's a minute 13 seconds for that first piece that I showed you last time. That the artwork I used in there, if I had to pay for that, I don't see how it would be less than $1,000 to pay for that, and it would have taken like months to get it. So, and I did it in an afternoon. So I can see that being a problem. If you're a graphic artist, you're not happy hearing me say that. Anyway, we'll see. The governments, I know the U.S. and Canada, they're talking about passing some, I guess, laws about the use of AI. So we'll see. What was it? Somebody had called. I don't know what part of the world. Somebody called a suicide prevention line because they were, thinking of killing themselves. And I don't know how they had an AI thing. So I don't know if this is a true story or not. That answered, but tried to convince him to kill himself. No, don't kill yourself. Started giving the reasons why you should. So I don't know. I've seen too many movies, man. Stan says if Slav, Raphael Harvey Pinard, and Roy makes a team, where does Hoffman? That might be he put where dies Hoffman and Armia fit in. And that's that's a typo that works. They don't really, right? They don't. Problem is, where do you do with them? It does not look like they're buying Hoffman out. They're not buying anybody out because they don't want any dead cap space going past next season. So Hoffman's not being bought out. They'd rather have him here and then not have to pay him next year at all because he'll be a free agent. Armia, that's a tough one, man. You know that trade proposal for Pierre-Luc Dubois? Like, if they'll take Armia, I'd throw them, I'd give them almost, I don't like giving Anderson up, but I'd pretty much give them that if you take Armia off our hands. You know what I mean? We'll take Wheeler, you take Armia. Hey, Bob, always good to have you here, eh? Thanks for being here. Have a great rest of the night, man. Cheers and keep your stick on the ice, bud. No, Stan, don't correct that. Dies was perfect. Leon, you got it right. They don't fit in, but what do you do with them, though? This is the thing. Now, you can bury them in the minors, and that might be what they do. Hope somebody takes them off your hands through waivers, or you bury them in the minors, and you at least get $1 million, I guess $1.1 million in relief for each one of those guys, because that's the max you can get burying somebody in the minors. But that's an option, and they might do that because I think it's more important to have young guys playing in the lineup and getting experience than those two guys who are not doing anything, right? And if you go like, well, maybe they'll have a good year next year. Yeah, who cares though? Well, Ryan, but you got to think if they could trade them, they'd have traded them, right? There's no interest. And I read that for Hoffman at the trade deadline last year, no interest. And Armia, forget it. So I doubt that's changed. So, you got to move them with a sweetener maybe. And even then, there's got to be interest somewhere. There's not, though. So, I think they should buy out Hoffman. Hoffman's one season, so you pay much less over 2 years. I'm good with that. It's not a big thing off the cap for the season after. I don't know why they can carry $1.5 million. I think they're not going to do that. They're not going to have any held money. So retain salary past next season or dead cap like a buyout. Brad, I mean, that's a good question about Dvorsky, but I can't see Dvorsky going that high anyway. Not as high as that. I really think He's probably going to end up like my pick is at Vancouver for Dvorsky if he's still there. I maybe Detroit takes Dvorsky. I could see that, but I don't think he goes as high as 5. Stand the man, that might be the option that they do take, right? Exactly that. Put him on waivers, and if they clear waivers, send him to Laval. I think a lot of that could depend on training camp, right? How they do in training camp and how the young kids do in training camp. If they've got kids that are hot in training camp and you can't send them back down, well, you're gonna those are the two guys that are gonna have to pay the price. Leon, though, I don't think there's not too many players, let's put it this way, that their highlights aren't great. You look at their highlights and go, wow, what a player. But they're highlights. That's why they're called that. You're right. So you're not seeing their low lights. You're not seeing them on a over a whole game, right? So, but highlights, almost everybody looks great, and I don't disagree with you. Dvorsky looks great. Believe me, there's a huge difference from judging a guy just on highlights, which you should never do. You really should not do that, but there's a big difference than actually seeing him play. What does Monahan signing mean for Dvorak? I don't think it means anything for Dvorak necessarily, right? I think bringing in a PLD means something for Dvorak. On top, like I don't think signing Monahan, you know what? Personally, I think signing Monahan almost means they're not going to sign PLD, and I'm right. But I don't think it affects it necessarily. But as far as for Dvorak, Monahan signing, no, because you need more than 4 guys. Like someone's going to get hurt at some point, and you need some options there. So, yeah, I don't think it means anything, that way at all. I just think Monahan, it just means Monahan's going to play more at center than Dvorak will. That's all I think it means. Or Monahan's going to play a wing, or Doc's going to play a wing. But I don't think I don't think that's what they want either. I mean, they've come out and said, Doc, our plan for Doc is to be a second line center. And we see him as a center, and we're developing him as a center. And so I don't know. That's what training camps are for. But yes, Dvorak could be traded, though. Yes, definitely not going to shock me at all. And I expect it, actually. And it, depending on, like, if they get PLD, Dvorak's got to go, right? Or another center like that, then Dvorak's got to go. Hey, Phil, have a good night, man. Thanks for being here, as always. Yeah, it's too much information, dude. You know what? On that note, I'm going to take off too. It's it's past my bedtime. No, it's not, but it's supper time. And I had a great time. It was a lot of fun. It is we're Wednesday, right? So what's my plans for the next week? Well, in 1 week, we'll be doing the draft. I would hope I'm going to get 2 more draft prospect videos out. I want to say the same thing for Matt, but I can't exactly speak for Matt for that. I want to get a mock draft out, last one, and it's going to be a busy week. So keep an eye out for the videos. They're still going to be coming, and hopefully you'll enjoy them. So thanks everybody for being here. Really do appreciate it. Had a great night again. It was a lot of fun, as always, and hopefully you guys had fun too, and I didn't bore you. And we'll see if I can do that again next time on Saturday. And I don't know what else to say. So have a great night. Thanks for being here. Stay safe till next time. Peace out, you guys. And we'll see you next time. Ciao, everybody.